folks, we are so excited today to be here at Kitchen Concepts, where we are meeting for the first time some folks that are doing some wonderful things here in the Bluegrass, especially for newlyweds. We've got Kate of Simply Nutritious by Kate, as well as Brian, the main chef involved with the company too. Thank you guys for coming out today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit, Kate, tell me a little bit about Simply Nutritious by Kate.
Well, Simply Nutritious by Kate is a brand that I'm building as a lifestyle brand. So I am a dietitian and health coach, and I focus on helping people to live well through food, nutrition, and also as a lifestyle. So Brian and I work with individuals, and we teach them how to cook and how to eat well.
Great. Okay. And Brian, what's your role here with the company?
Well, Kate's a health coach and a nutritionist. I'm a more traditional chef. So I was born in Germany. I grew up in the Caribbean. Family's from South Carolina. So between the two of us, we combine a fairly unique cuisine. I take my travels and international exposure. Kate takes her passion for local farmers and the local community. So we use a lot of Kentucky-centric ingredients, but we apply a lot of different international influences to them. And we try to show people that eating healthy is about variety and creativity. You don't have to get pigeonholed in thinking that healthy food has to be without flavor or some fun.
So what does this bring to our brides? What are you offering to our brides?
Well, my personal health coaching services are the first thing. I work with private individuals one-on-one to help them meet their health and nutrition goals. So through teaching them about food, about nutrition, how to cook, and how to live is where we start. And then our programs here at Kitchen Concepts.
Yeah, with Kitchen Concepts, we do some brand representation. So we have some things called the Chef's Table at Kitchen Concepts, where we do a series of classes and things. And for new brides, when you get married, a lot of times you don't really know how to cook, or you might not have grown up with some experience cooking.
Right.
So we give them an opportunity to learn some very simple techniques so that they can begin on their journey of cooking for their spouse or cooking for their new families. We don't make it complicated, but we give them the tools that they need to kind of move that forward a little bit. So that's what we want to do for your new brides. And of course, since we are talking about Kitchen Concepts, can't go wrong with getting a new kitchen when you start off a new family. But, which is one of the reasons why we have this beautiful showroom behind us.
It's very beautiful.
This is incredible. And as far as different, one or two basic cooking techniques for brides and grooms and everything, what are one or two things that right off the bat you always talk to them about?
Using fresh ingredients is my number one thing. Buying local, buying good quality ingredients makes it simple.
Mm-hmm. And I tend to focus on simple things that you can do on the stovetop. A lot of the food that we grew up with, or that we consider Kentucky cuisine, for example, it originated from the need to make food extend over the winter. We did a lot of canning, or we had root cellars and those sorts of things. So the foods that we made and we created from those are usually complex or maybe a little heavy. We don't really live in that world anymore. Those traditions and that cuisine needs to be embraced and appreciated, but we can do it in ways that are a little bit more simple to approach. It doesn't have to be quite as involved, and you can still end up with a wonderful dish. So we, teach a lot of things, stovetop with some simple sautéing and those kinds of things to help people get to where they want to, get as far as their food, but not make it overly complicated.
So you're saying you don't cook with lard anymore?
No, we don't cook with lard. Yeah. No, cooking with lard is hopefully a thing of the past. Yeah. But I was raised on deep South cooking, coming from South Carolina. So I still remember cooking with lard. I still remember a lot of deep fat frying and those sorts of things.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. But the trick is, I can show you how to take that good stuff, and it'll still be good stuff. But we'll use maybe some olive oils and some lighter pan frying if we fry it all. And that's kind of what we want to really kind of communicate, is that healthy cooking doesn't have to be bad cooking or boring cooking, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, and you can apply a lot of these cooking techniques to once these brides and grooms are married and they decide to have some romantic dinners at home.
Yes.
Then they can do that. Do you have any interesting tips or advice for when they get to that stage of being able to cook and
romantic dinners?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you are number one man.
The number one tip for a romantic dinner is keep it simple.
Yeah.
Remember that food is one element of an entire experience. The ambiance plays into it, and this goes for the healthy lifestyle too. It's one of the reasons why we focus on a lifestyle approach instead of just food. If you want to have a romantic experience, you make a simple dish that really, communicates your effort to share something romantic. It doesn't have to be, I made the most complicated dish I could. Something simple oftentimes communicates romance far better than, this overly involved dish that didn't turn out very well. And the rest of it's really about creating the ambiance and the approach and taking the time to create a mood that matches what you're doing.
Right.
Don't be afraid to include a glass of wine. That's not an unhealthy approach. In fact, a glass of wine with a nice meal calms you down a little bit, makes you reassess, makes you enjoy the moment, and that's just as important in health as what you're putting inside your plate.
Right.
So.
Great. And what tips do you have for romantic dinners?
For me, keep it simple. Start with good ingredients. Apply a simple technique. No one wants to spend 2 hours in the kitchen. I mean, nobody has time for that anymore. So, like Brian said, get a glass of wine, make the plate look really pretty. Sit down and savor it, because health is about taking that time for yourself and really enjoying something. If you use simple techniques, the guy's more likely to get involved, and you're more likely to enjoy the experience. So, that's our biggest tip. And cook together. I think cooking together is a great thing to share.
The only other tip I would offer, especially for guys, if you want romance and if you want to find a future bride, learn to cook.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with more of The Bridal Show. Don't miss the Bridal Bliss Classic Bridal Show on Sunday, January 6th at the Hilton Lexington Downtown Hotel. Visit with Central Kentucky's top wedding companies and get ideas that will help create your special day. The show is free, and you can pre-register for your chance to win a reception courtesy of Type A Catering and Lone Oak Golf Course. Pre-register at bridalblissclassic.com. For more information about the Bridal Bliss Classic, visit www.bridalblissclassic.com or call 859-457-0824. See you there. Folks, welcome back to the Bridal Show. We're so happy to be now in the kitchen, one of our favorite places, right? Yeah, joined with Kate and Brian of Simply Nutritious by Kate. And tell us what's going on here now.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a few simple techniques that brides or husbands even can use at home for either a romantic dinner or just a simple weekly or even a nice weeknight type thing. So we're going to do something really simple, but at the end it's going to look elegant, and that's kind of what we're shooting for. So we're going to take some of these beautiful grape or cherry tomatoes that we've gotten from Good Foods, the co-op, as well as some kale, a little bit of garlic, rosemary, some red pepper flakes, and some Celtic sea salt. We're going to use that to build a sauce. And traditionally you'll find, with tomato sauces, people use a lot of tomato paste out of a can or tomato sauces out of a can and things like that. But you can make a beautiful sauce just from some very simple ripe tomatoes. As they heat up, they'll actually burst and open up their juices, and that'll create the base of the sauce that you can toss your pasta in. And we've got some wonderful fettuccine from Lexington Pasta that we're going to use today. Lexington Pasta makes wonderful stuff in the local area. Always very happy to use it. It's got a nice bright color, and that's going to blend really well with the reds and the greens that we're going to play with. So that's what we're going to shoot for today. A lot of flavor and simplicity. All right, so we're going to get started by, you want to turn your stovetop onto about a medium-high heat. The idea here is you want to get just enough heat in your skillet that these will open up, but you don't want to be too high so that you inadvertently burn them, because we don't really want to do that. And we're going to be using some extra virgin olive oil for this. Now, the trick to olive oil or any oil that you cook with is you have to understand it has both a smoking point and a flash point. Your smoking point is literally where it starts to smoke, and your flash point is, well, where it catches fire. We don't want that fire. All right?
So you don't cut your tomatoes up?
No, you don't cut them up at all, and all you're going to do is add a little bit of the sea salt. Now, this is Celtic sea salt, and if you notice, it's got a nice coarse kind of grain to it, and it's a little on the wet side. Sea salts, the amazing thing about them is that, especially these coarse ground ones, you get a wonderful salty flavor, and then we're just going to use some red pepper flakes. That'll add a little bit of a spice to it. Now, the trick to red pepper flakes is when you add them to what you're working with. If you add them early on, you get a milder heat and a little bit more flavor. If you add them later, then you're going to have more of a heat and it's going to kind of have a kick to it. But if you notice, all we're really doing is just kind of coating these in oil. Now,
do we have to do that?
I'm going to actually get you to do this.
Because it is going everywhere.
Now, here's the trick. I'm going to have you do this. So here's the trick, all right? The trick is not to flip it down. The trick is just to move it forward and backward, and it'll just rotate through and kind of coat. All right? So
This I've got to say.
take a stab at it. I promise you can do it. Just push forward and see. There you go. There you go. That's it. It's not that hard.
Excellent.
So all we really want to do is just kind of get that oil to coat. Now, you can obviously stir this with a spoon and make yourself a little bit easier, but you got to kind of look cool. That's what I'm going to do. All right.
I don't like cleaning it up, so. And this is great because in our classes and dinners, we want to get our guests involved. So what a fun way for a couple to come out and teach them how to do this. They can go home and do it themselves. So it's a fun, interactive environment.
The only other thing that I'm going to really add to this is a little bit of rosemary and then a little bit of garlic. Now, the trick to rosemary is you want to peel it from the stem. You don't want to throw the stick in because that's kind of hard to chew on. You just really want these leaves, and you just kind of strip them down. And if you notice, I mean, you can't see this on film, but you can smell these wonderful flavors that are coming out. And that's those aromatic herbs that are kicking in, and it really kind of opens up the dish so you have these kind of flavors.
Wow, you really can. That is amazing.
Now, the important thing with rosemary is you want to add it kind of early into what you're doing because you want those leaves to soften. Otherwise, they're going to be very leathery and unappetizing. So we want that to soften quite a bit so that when we go to eat it, it doesn't stand out on what we're eating as something that we don't want in our mouth.
It'll just kind of infuse the tomatoes with its scent. And it makes your house smell great. So what better to walk into this, cooking on the stove.
You're right. You can save money on air fresheners at your house.
And all you're going to do is add just a little bit of oil every now and then. And the reason you're doing that is because you're helping those tomatoes soften. You're continuing to coat the flavor over what you're cooking. Okay? And when we get it to about this point, what we want to do is incorporate a little bit of garlic. Now, if you notice, when I got my garlic clove, all I did was I just popped it with the flat of the blade. The whole point behind that is just to remove that skin. It's not to actually crush it or mash it or anything like that. And then what we did is we just sliced it up. And you can rough chop your garlic. You don't have to have a perfect cut or slice. You don't have to mince it. You don't have to dice it. These little bits of garlic are just going to open up their flavor.
Oh my God, that smells so
good. Does that smell?
Wow.
And garlic's one of those things that actually has a lot of nutrition, so you don't want to overcook it. Most people will put the garlic in first, and it'll end up burning or overcooking, and you lose all the nutrition.
Yeah, I heard you can get the nutrition out of food.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is correct.
So we focus on techniques that are quick and easy to prepare, not boiling something for 8 hours to take all the good stuff out of it. So,
all right. So our tomatoes are at a point now where they're starting to break down, and this is really where you can use a spoon and just kind of lean on them a little bit, and you see how they just kind of break.
Wow, yeah.
And what's happening is all those juices are going to come out into the pan, and with that oil, it'll start to break down. Oops, didn't mean to shoot you there.
You guys are making a mess.
I know. I'm not cleaning this up.
The worst part was me that got her messy instead of the other way around, so I will pay for this later.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is just add a little bit of green to things, and Kate insists that green is added to everything. So we use kale for that, and kale's in season. It's a wonderful superfood, and in fact, what do you want to share about kale? Because
first you said I love to add green to everything, which is true. Any dish we make, I'm always like, how can we make it? How can we add some spinach or some arugula or some kale, because it's a great way to get your greens in all day long. So I love to start my morning with something green, have, you know, a big salad at lunch, and then, you know, when making a pasta for dinner, throw a little bit of kale, throw a little spinach, you'll not even notice it, and you're getting that nutrition. Kale's a great source of iron, it's a good source of fiber, and also it's high in protein. Per calorie, it actually has more protein than most meats. So
really,
if you're a vegetarian, it's a good thing to incorporate. I love to put it in smoothies, love to throw it in soups, and, you know, love to mix it into anything. It's very hearty, so you can't overcook it, it doesn't get soggy. And it retains this beautiful bright green color. So it's great to add into just about everything. So experiment with it, you know, throw it into anything that you think it might be good, and can't go wrong.
And then what you want to do is just take the leaves and roll them up, you know, kind of like you do a cigar or something like that. Okay, so you have a nice little tight roll. And then we're just going to cut these so that we have almost little ribbons or strips when they kind of break out. And that way when we toss in all this wonderful tomato and olive oil and flavors, everything will get coated, and we'll have a nice texture that we're working with. Plenty of green, and it'll be pretty on the plate.
And when you cut it small, you don't even notice it. It's like you get a little bit of kale in every bite, and you're not even really
it smells so
noticing. It is very earthy and woodsy.
Yeah, I think it smells great.
Yeah, if you taste kale how it is right now, it's going to kind of have that bitter, not so good taste. If you just simply massage it a little bit with some lemon juice and some olive oil and some salt, you can take away that bitterness and actually eat it raw. So that's another technique and another way that I love to get my kale into my diet. So.
Well, this is looking fantastic, and we're going to take a brief break and come right back with Simply Nutritious by Kate, with Kate and Brian here, and don't go away. Don't miss the Bridal Bliss Classic Bridal Show on Sunday, January 6th at the Hilton Lexington Downtown Hotel. Visit with Central Kentucky's top wedding companies and get ideas that will help create your special day. The show is free, and you can pre-register for your chance to win a reception courtesy of Type A Catering and Lone Oak Golf Course. Pre-register at bridalblissclassic.com. For more information about the Bridal Bliss Classic, visit www.bridalblissclassic.com or call 859-457-0824. See you there. Guys, we are now back here with Simply Nutritious by Kate, joined by Kate and Brian of the company, and we're in the middle of doing this kind of a basic pasta dish, and things are looking amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. So we have our tomatoes that have broken down. We've added a little bit of rosemary, some garlic, help those flavors open up, and we finished off with kale. So now we're going to get our pasta into our pot. I just have a pot of boiling salted water here. And I'm using a fresh pasta for two reasons. It's going to have very few ingredients. It's just simply eggs, flour, and some water. This is local from Lexington Pasta, and it cooks in 3 minutes. So it's really great for those nights when you come home and you just want something quick. And like I mentioned before, newlyweds probably don't want to spend a ton of time in the kitchen. So this is great because it comes together in about 10 minutes. So we'll get that into our boiling water. And I've added some salt just to kind of flavor the pasta as well.
Okay.
So,
is that the sea salt?
Yep, the Celtic salt. And I added about 2 tablespoons, and it's just going to kind of infuse the pasta as it cooks with a little bit of salted flavor.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more sea salt right there at the end, just to kind of open things up a little bit. And then she's going to take that pasta straight into the pan. We're going to top everything, instead of with Parmesan cheese or something like you would expect, we're actually going to use a goat cheese Gouda. That's going to add a nice little bite and flavor to things.
So when using cheeses, I'm not a huge fan of traditional cheeses. I like to stick to things like goat cheese. Number one, because goat's milk is much easier to digest than cow's milk would be, and number 2, because it has a lot of flavor. So when you're using cheeses, I recommend using cheeses with a lot of flavor, a very salty flavor especially is what I enjoy. That way you can use less. So in this case, we're just topping it off with a little bit of the Gouda. It's going to melt nicely. It's going to have the saltiness. It's going to add a lot of flavor, and also it's going to have it's going to taste really great. So
Right. Well, that sounds good to me.
yeah, a little bit goes a long way.
I knew that was coming from somebody. It should be just about ready. So I'm going to put this back on the heat. I'm going to add just a little bit more salt. And keep in mind, it looks like we're adding a lot, but we're really not. What's happening is that coarse ground salt is just kind of opening up a lot of salt flavor without putting a lot of sodium in the dish.
It's also great for portion control. I know, isn't that? It's great for
I mean, it's just pretty.
the holidays.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, holidays.
So the idea is, if you want to make a romantic meal for you and your partner, or you want to cook something nice for your spouse on a weekday or weekend, it does not have to be this terribly complicated dish. So even something as simple as a little bit of pasta and a little bit of olive oil and some flavors can make this, wonderful thing that we're tossing together here for you. Fairly simplistic. Comes together in about 20-25 minutes. You don't have to spend hours in the kitchen.
And if you are, getting ready for your wedding, you're on a diet, you're trying to watch your weight, you can sub spaghetti squash. Just roast it in the oven with a little salt, a little olive oil, take your fork and scrape it out, put the sauce right over spaghetti squash, and you have a carb-free version. So that's another great tip for that. And typically we just serve this with a nice mixed green salad, some arugula, some fresh local greens. We toss with just good olive oil, lemon juice, and salt. So it comes together very, very quickly. A little piece of bread and a glass of wine. You got a very, very simple meal.
You can use a grater for this. It's just a little bit easier for me to shave it with a knife real quick. And a little bit of this goat Gouda shaved on there gives it nice color. And of course, ladies first.
Oh.
There you go.
Pretty.
And then
I'll give her a
Too.
fork. Yes, let you guys take a taste. And how pretty is that? I mean,
I know.
looks like it came from a restaurant.
I know. It's like, some fancy restaurant in Paris. Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mmm.
You guys are incredible.
There you go.
So what do you think, Melissa?
Yeah, that's good.
This is fabulous.
Wow.
good. That's what we like to hear.
I mean, I'm going to go home and try this. This is fabulous.
Yeah, you
So
can definitely
yeah.
impress someone.
I think she's
Why you always
inspired.
feed ladies first.
And that's another thing that we really want is you to go home and feel like you can do this at home. So when you leave one of our classes, leave one of our dinners, be inspired to go home and cook and entertain and not be intimidated because,
Right.
we want everyone to cook more.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
So good.
Appreciate it. Now, how can folks contact you guys with website, phone numbers, things like
Let's
that?
see. Well, our website is simplynutritiousbykate.com. So you can just go there. There's a contact info page.
Right.
And my email is kate@simplynutritiousbykate.
Or you can contact me, Chef Brian, at Simply Nutritious by Kate.
And then all of our information on classes is at kitchenconcepts.simplynutritiousbykate.com.
For the classes that we have here, yep. And so that gives you a couple different ways of reaching us and chasing us down.
Yeah.
The important thing is to learn how to eat a little bit more healthy than you probably have before. Learn that it's got to be about a lifestyle. It's not just a simple, on and off switch. And probably the most important thing is it doesn't have to taste bad. It can actually taste really good, and it can be very, very simple.
Very
it doesn't
simple,
have to be
yeah.
complicated, and it doesn't have to be something that you don't enjoy. So.
Right.
And when you eat better, you often feel better, don't you?
Yeah,
Too?
Yes,
absolutely.
without
More
a doubt.
energy to cook more.
You can live in the kitchen like we did. So.
Well, you guys have been amazing to visit with.
Yes.
Thank you again for
Thank
having
you
us
so
come by.
Oh, wonderful. It's
We
been our pleasure.
enjoyed it.
Well, great. And folks, we'll see you again on another episode really soon of The Bridal Show.
I'm going to eat now.
Enjoy.
Hi everyone, it's Michael Crisp from The Bridal Show, and I want to tell you about a couple of great opportunities in January to come out and meet a lot of wonderful wedding vendors who are going to help plan your wedding. First off, on January the 6th, we have the Bridal Bliss Classic, down at the Hilton Lexington downtown. And it's a wonderful opportunity to come out and meet Shannon Christie. She is the head of Bridal Bliss, and she can help you with all of your wedding needs, introduce you to a lot of great vendors. There are so many different people down there that you would love to meet. We've got photographers, videographers, DJs, caterers, wedding reception venues, everything that you can imagine. And that's Sunday, January the 6th at the Hilton Lexington downtown. A week later, on Sunday, January the 13th, at the Embassy Suites Hotel, you're going to have to stop by and check out the Diamond Rings and Pretty Things bridal show. Like the show a week prior, you get to meet a lot of great wedding vendors, lots of caterers, DJs, photographers, videographers, everybody that can help plan your special day are going to be there. I myself will be there. My co-host Melissa Smith will be there as well. She'll be talking to you a little bit about Weddings by Michelle as well as Style 360. So these are two fantastic opportunities to stop by and check out just some amazing vendors, some professional wedding companies that we can assure you will assist you in planning your special day and will help make it unique and interesting and just a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Once again, the Bridal Bliss Classic is Sunday, January the 6th at the Hilton Lexington downtown. And a week later, don't miss the Diamond Rings and Pretty Things bridal show at the Embassy Suites on Newtown Pike. We look forward to seeing you there.